Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabloonsy's coming at your neck with another Destiny 2 video, and right here we got a small little breakdown of the new Stasis subclass coming in November with the Beyond Light DLC. Right here is the Warlock subclass called Shadebinder. I actually love that name, it's so cool. Right here is a little picture with some info on it. It says Stasis subclass, Warlock Shadebinder, Fracture with Frost. Keen masters of destruction, launching projectiles, freezing as many enemies as possible, and shattering them in all one fell swoop. The Shadebinder ensures no foe is left standing. So I guess right here the staff is called Winter's Wrath. Shadebinders harness the power of destruction to summon a staff. Okay, a stasis staff. I obviously look at it, ice staff. It's like the Ice King right here, right? Shatter Shockwave. The Shadebinder detonates the crystals on their staff, creating a devastating shockwave that shatters all nearby frozen enemies. And then Penumbral Blast fires stasis projectiles from their staff that explode on impact. Enemies hit by the crystalline shrapnel are immediately frozen solid. Okay, I like that. This looks absolutely sick, and I guess that this right here is a super. I guess that has to do with the super, but I like Winter's Wrath. That's a nice name. So there's a lot of text here. I'm just going to read it through and let's see what we think. I'll probably give some thoughts and stuff like that. It says, welcome to the first in a series of Stasis Spotlight articles where we'll be taking a look at Stasis via each of the 3 Guardian classes in Destiny 2. Stasis is the first new elemental power to Destiny since the original trio of Arc, Solar, and Void, and its introduction in Beyond Light will have ramifications for players across all aspects of the game, from narrative to combat to the way in which players will customize their Guardians. It's true. Ever since, Destiny, the first Destiny came out, we only ever had Arc, Solar, and Void, and now we're getting darkness-based Stasis. So this is going to be very interesting. It's huge for the franchise because I remember back when Destiny came out, they were mentioning the darkness, but we had no idea what it was. We had no idea the triangles. I think there was one concept art of the triangles, but yeah, now we're actually going to be able to harness the darkness. So this is going to be sick, man. Each Guardian class will feature a new Stasis subclass with Beyond Light, and as you might expect, each class will use Stasis in a unique way. Stasis is a domain of control, an elemental power that is less about outright aggression and more about careful control of enemy combatants in space, sometimes even using the powers of Stasis in a defensive way. Hunters zipping by in a blink, let me just highlight that, of an eye while slowing down opponents in Stasis fields. Titans smashing their fists to the ground, launching jagged eruptions of stasis crystals from the earth. Now you notice how they said blink of an eye. Bungie, when they drop stuff like this, they definitely choose their words carefully. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they said blink. I think that Hunters might be getting blink back because in Destiny 1 and I think it was called Blade Dancer, Hunters had blink. So if blink is coming back for Hunters, that'd be tight. No matter which class you prefer, Stasis will change the way you play Destiny 2. Alright, let's move down a little bit. By commanding Stasis in Beyond Light, players will have access to new powers that change their approach to a fight. In combat, Stasis can manifest in multiple ways, including freezing or slowing opponents, creating crystalline stasis structures, or even shattering frozen combatants. This range of options gives players more ability to control large-scale fights than ever before. And look at this picture, it looks so sick. He's just like covered in ice, looks like darkness ice. I love this picture right here, and I like how they said that it allows you to control large-scale fights. So this is really control-based, CC-based. You're going to be able to freeze enemies, and I also like how it says creating crystalline stasis structures. Now one of the grenades, when you throw it, it creates like a wall of ice. Now I wonder if there's going to be other things you can do, because as you guys will see farther down in the article, there's things called aspects and fragments. So maybe, once we get the DLC, there's some other aspects that allow us to create other kinds of structures. I don't know, I guess we'll have to see when it comes out. Scroll down a little bit. No class embodies the concept of freezing better than the Warlock Shadebinder. Imbued by stasis energy, the Shadebinder can summon a stasis staff that fires projectiles which can freeze opponents, immediately rendering them immobile. The Shadebinder's Penumbral Blast melee attack is a quick burst of stasis energy that erupts from the staff and instantly freezes anyone it hits. From there, the Warlock can either deal with the frozen foes or leave them be and move on to other, more immediate threats. I like this because it's kind of like a duality to the class. You can freeze people and then kill them, or you can freeze them and then maybe focus on other enemies and freeze them, and then focus on another group of enemies and freeze them. You don't necessarily have to kill them. You can just control everybody, all the enemies in the field. If you're looking to combine freezing with destruction, look no further than the Shadebinder's super, Winter's Wrath. Here, the Shadebinder summons their Stasis Staff and fires projectiles that instantly freeze opponents. The second stage begins, and the fight ends when the Guardian raises the staff, detonates its stasis crystals, and sends a devastating shatter shockwave that disintegrates nearby frozen opponents. So I guess there's also like a duality to Super too. You can either choose to freeze a bunch of people, or you can freeze some people and shatter them. Or if you have another person on your fire team running another stasis subclass, then they can have them freezing, and then you can just go around and just bang, blow them up, bang, blow them up. Like, it's gonna be crazy. Alright, right here it says customizing stasis. If you play Destiny for long enough, you know that choosing the right subclass for each situation can be crucial to the outcome of a fight. Titans have their bubbles, Warlocks have their wells. Skilled Guardians know how important those abilities can be in a pinch. With Beyond Light and Stasis, we're giving you even more flexibility to customize your subclass to your style of play. Now in Destiny 1, we actually had a customizable subclass, at least to a certain degree. I don't think it's going to be to the level as Destiny 2 is going to be with the new Stasis subclasses, but we were able to choose a couple of different abilities that you want. But in Destiny 2, the subclasses were locked. It was just like the diamond thing, and then you just picked which one you want. You weren't able to mix and match. But it seems like they're actually going back to the roots a little bit. Now obviously it's not going to be just like copy and paste from Destiny 1. They're putting their unique spin on it, and they're making it more modern, you know, to fit Destiny 2. So see what we got here. Here's a super ability, obviously. Now if you notice, right here is the well, but there's like a little gray square right here. I believe this is the jump, and this is the other two gray squares. Now obviously I think that this is like the healing well, the damage well, this jump, and then two other jumps. This is probably the melee, and then this looks like it's the grenade. As you guys can see right here, we have 2 aspect slots with 2 more gray boxes, and then fragments. This is really important right here. Each stasis subclass in Beyond Light will give players the ability to customize abilities like grenades, movement modes, class abilities, and so on with. In addition, we've added new layers of customization with the addition of aspects and fragments. That's what I was talking about right here a second ago. Aspects manifest as physical items in the world, such as a crystallized Vex Conflux or robotic fallen arm, for example. When slotted in, aspects will offer players new abilities too. Okay, I like that. New abilities, among other effects. These abilities can be mixed and matched freely by the player. Many aspects will have space for fragments to be slotted in. Fragments are also physical items you can discover in the world that, when applied to aspects, offer additional passive perks such as a stat bonus that may come with penalties. Aspect upgrades are unique to each stasis subclass, while fragment slots are class agnostic. Agnostic means like they're just for any class, they're not necessarily class specific. How players combine these two different types of upgrades will lead to a range of customization options. This is going to be sick, man. Here's a little picture of it. It's showing one aspect, Frost Pulse, Stasis aspect, fragment slots. As you can see, there's 2 kind of grayed out here, and there's one that's more lit up. I wonder what that means. I'm not too sure. It says right here, casting your rift generates a shockwave that freezes nearby combatants. Now, I'm already thinking about some of the exotics that are going to pal very nicely with this. The one that comes to mind immediately is Vesper Radius, because when you throw down your rift while using Vesper Radius, it sends out like a damage field. So that damage field plus the freezing field is going to be pretty nice. Another one that comes to mind is Prometheus Spur. I think that's what it's called, Prometheus Spur. When you're using your super, actually I think that might only be a Dawnblade thing. I don't know, but it kills enemies that where they die with their super, it leaves wells. So is that going to be like, you know, you kill somebody, if it works with the stasis subclass, can you shoot your melee attack, kill somebody, and then it leaves wells, creating like a chain effect of the stasis. So this is interesting right here. I like this. This is going to be so sick. Just look at the screen too. Ah, man, amazing. Right here we have more. We have a couple of gray boxes actually. Okay, that's interesting. Right here it shows off a little bit of the stasis fragment. It says defeating frozen targets with weapons grants you super energy, but you take a -10 hit to your intellect and -10 to your discipline, which I guess is a fair trade-off, but you know, you're probably going to get a lot more super energy than what you're losing from the 10 intellect, and 10 is not even that much, honestly. And we see a couple more other fragments right here. I'm guessing this one's some kind of melee that actually looks like the new Hunter melee. That's interesting. That's the aspect right there. All right, cool. And he has 4 fragment slots. So I wonder, right here he only has 3. So I wonder how he got 4 here. Interesting. Okay. For example, a Warlock finds a Frost Pulse aspect in the world and equips it. This aspect augments their Rift ability, which now freezes any enemy caught in the field. The Frostpulse aspect also has a fragment slot available, allowing further customization. This Warlock decides to slot in the Whisper of Refraction fragment that replenishes some of their class ability upon shattering enemies. They now have set themselves up with a nice 1-2 punch, and if played skillfully, they can use this combo frequently. Because if you probably have high recovery and then you use your Rift a lot, you freeze enemies, then shoot them, to shatter them, then you get your energy back, and it's just like a nice cycle where you can constantly either have damaging fields down or healing fields down. With its focus on freezing and shattering, the Shadebinder subclass promises to give Guardians yet another reason to love their floaty, book-loving Warlocks. But no matter what class you like, all players will be able to take advantage of aspects and fragments that unlock even more ways to make your Guardian yours. In our next article coming this Thursday, we'll be pointing the Stasis spotlight at the class that loves to punch first and ask questions later, the Titan Behemoth. In the meantime, check out the Stasis Hub page to learn more about Stasis, and here's a final picture of the Stasis Warlock. Look at that staff, man, that just looks amazing. It looks so epic. I love this. He looks like Venom or something like that, like a symbiote. Like, oh man, here's some falling in the background. I wonder where this location is. I'm guessing this is on Europa. Nice vibe to it, nice cold vibe. Plus with this ice staff, the Ice King from Adventure Time, that's what he is. Right here's another picture, him shooting somebody with the Stasis melee ability. Look here, the balls of Stasis right here. Oh man, amazing. Alright boys, so there you have it. Just a little Destiny 2 update. They're talking about the Stasis abilities. I just wanted to give my thoughts on it, and honestly I'm so excited for this. I'm gonna make so many builds. There's gonna be so much build potential. I'm really looking at the Hunter. That's what I'm really most excited about, and then I'm probably most excited for probably the Warlock, then probably the Titan, but I'm excited for all three of them, honestly, because a new element and new subclasses, like this is a first for Destiny ever since Destiny came out, and just they're actually taking it now towards, you know, the more RPG MMO aspect of Destiny. Like we're actually going to be able to customize their subclasses, and they're going to make new exotics. Obviously they're going to synergize well with these new subclasses, and you know, these new aspects and fragments. What's to say that they can't even add more aspects and fragments in the future? What if they add exotic aspects or exotic fragments and stuff like that? And what if, I remember when Gambit Prime came out, they had the set pieces. They still have them actually, the set armor pieces for Gambit. What if they took that idea and turned it, now we have set armor for the new Stasis classes or for the already existing subclasses? Now maybe that's just me stretching and reaching for stuff, but I don't know, I'm just so hyped, and it's like I'm just very optimistic. You know, Bungie always seems to put out their best content when, you know, their backs are against the wall, because Season of Worthy really didn't hit that well, and Season of Rivals, although it is a really good season, everyone's just kind of already like sick and tired of the same, you know, grind and the same everything. You know, there's nothing new, and they already said that they're not making Destiny 3, so I guess this is kind of a way to shake it up. You know, they're shaking up Destiny 2. They're essentially upgrading everything, making everything more modern. Hopefully they change the power grind. We're getting new elemental supers, new elements, different kind of subclasses, customizable subclasses, and who's to say that they can't even do more? Because Bungie, although that, you know, you guys can hate on them or whatever, but we still play their game and we play it all the time. Like, this is by far one of my favorite games of all time, and it's just going in the right direction, more MMORPG-ish, and I'm just so excited for the future. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. I have some really crazy Titan builds, some Warlock builds, and some Hunter builds, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @Balloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.